This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Um, my first identification is if you try to have a filter condition on a not on a primary business object but on
Dependent
a
on the dependent business
dependent,
object.
okay, on the dependent or related
Related business object.
business, the related business
Yeah.
object, you cannot use filter. I think you should use sub filter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that is a one finding I figured out. And the first answer to the first question is if you go to the operators, right? One of the operators is exist kind of an operator, right? It's not only just equal, less than. In addition to that, there is a operator. I don't know the name exactly because I'm not in the front of the computer.
Contained
One of the contained.
is
Okay, it's
yes, Bala is contained.
yeah, yes, yes. So if you use that operator, that will make sure that your child table has got a row for the matching record in your primary business object.
But I think
Okay.
Bala content will work on the certain say characters. If I say first name containing ABC, so it will display only ABC,
No,
right,
no, no,
Arun?
no, 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 no. Contained, it says contained is not, when you say contained, right, which means
Hmm.
that the matching record exists in the child table, right? And on top of it, you need to come up with one more filter condition stating that the last name is not null, right? The contained is just to make sure that you are not, finding the records only from a primary business object whose corresponding record is not found in the related business objects. That criteria will be erased if you use a contain. Okay, this is what my understanding, man. And you can correct me, Arun.
Sure. So we'll go one by one, and then we'll see like what all things have been like learned and what all things are like correct or like bit of understanding needed to be done. So whose report should I open first?
Start from Seema.
Yeah.
Ladies first.
Yeah. It's dependence report child SC.
Then
Dependence underscore report underscore child. Yeah.
okay. So these are all the fields. Okay. Now
I
let
didn't take a whole lot of fields because I wanted to work on that filter and sub filter. So
okay. So first thing is, so Seema, why did you use this hash dependence field?
because we were trying to take the records for which there has to be dependence. So basically, we shouldn't take any employees or workers who don't have dependence.
No, why I'm asking this question is because this field is not worked at anywhere. Okay, this is somebody who has created, because this is a calculated field, right? This is not a worked at delivered field. This is a calculated field. So suppose this field would not have been there, and since we haven't
Mm-hmm.
learned about calculated fields,
Mm-hmm.
how would you have done that then?
Okay, okay. Yeah, because the
Can
field
you
was there, I
what I-
just picked that up.
right?
Yeah.
So this has been created, so that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, so then what would you have done in that sense? So your this filter would have worked, like dependence is not empty. This is actually more than enough for your filtering criteria. That dependence is not empty. Now let us see. if I remove this filter, like what you have created,
If you
Click on the
remove that
minus.
filter, yeah, Anand, go ahead.
No, you can continue. Sorry.
If I think if I remove that filter, then there'll be a lot of blank rows that come through. I mean, you will have the worker, uh, like spouse and grandparents and all that will be, those records will also come through. But for this particular report, I wanted to pull out only for child dependents, dependents who are children. Arun?
I guess we've lost him.
Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
One was that only records for whom dependents are there should be displayed,
At
and
least
then
one dependent will be there, right?
one dependent at least. And second one was that the dependent's first name should be present.
Should be present, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, for the second criteria, I found that all the dependents had first name. So that's why I changed the criteria a bit.
Who come you can have a dependent without a first name, right?
Yeah, because it's a mandatory field.
I can see 9 attendees. How come 9 attendees?
no, I tried
Uh,
using the application.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. So now if you
so
see,
any records?
yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, please go ahead.
for which there is no dependent will not be a part of this particular report, right?
Yeah, Arun.
Yeah.
Right, correct.
So you can directly like why I used that part in the filter. It's because that for filters, the first understanding by Bala and every one of you is correct that filter only works on the primary business object fields, right? It will not work on the related business object fields. But there is a condition. The condition is that if you see the filter, this particular dependence, like which you have used, is a is a you can say it can be treated as a related business object, but also the field in a primary business object, right? So that is why here that is why you get that you put in the filter the dependence is not empty, it is throwing up the value. But if you use the filter subfield like say spouse, child, relationship, anything kind of that which is under the related business object, that will not be the part of filter criteria. That is I think that is everyone's understanding related to filter and subfilter, right?
Yeah, Arun, I put that in the subfilter.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so what happens is okay, now let me do one thing. So now what you have done in your report is, first of all, let's say our main filter is like put only those records for which dependent is not empty,
Empty.
right? All those employees for which dependent information is there. And then in the subfilter, what you have done is that only put those records for which the relationship is child, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Now let's do one thing. Let's remove the main filter. Let's remove this. Now what will happen? Can somebody take a guess?
I think all
So
What's your
record
now
will be
question, man?
visible.
What's your
so
question,
the
man? Please,
question is
what's your question?
the question is, Bala, that I have not put in any filter, right? That is whether
Uh,
dependent is there or not, doesn't matter. But in the sub filter, what I've done is that relationship equals to child, right? Now what will happen?
So, answer to anybody wants to try it, let them try, man. I tell later.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to try, take a
I think
call.
all
So,
record
but
will
so
be.
you have removed the initial thread, so I don't think so that it will give any results in terms of that, because both were linked together,
Yes.
the filter and sub filter.
Okay. So what will happen with this sub filter then?
It
Okay,
will
can
get
I?
null and void, if
No, no.
that's what I think.
See, when
Okay.
you correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Sure.
When you have a primary business object and a related business object, right? Um, it's just that without any filter, the system will bring you records from a business, primary business object and a matched one only. Unmatched one will not be brought into the system, which means
It will
it,
display all the records.
it will display the records which are got children. Otherwise, it won't even show. Right? Am I right, Arun?
No, I think it will display all the records, Arun.
No, no, Arun. Arun, are you there?
Arun, are you there?
I think he's
Arun?
lost now.
Okay. See, what I think is, let's say
Mm-hmm.
I have an employee, one employee, two employee, three, E1, E2, E3. Okay, and E1 has got a spouse, E2 has got a spouse and children, E3 is bachelor. Assume that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you do not have any filter or sub-filter conditions, then the system will provide you E1 and E2. E3 will not be there because E3 does not have any spouse or any children. He's a bachelor guy. So
Okay.
when it with the related business object, that guy will be eliminated. That's what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So E1 and E2 will be only repeated. That Arun comes there. Arun, are you there, Arun?
Yeah, yeah, Bala.
Okay. I gave a small example, man.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say you have E1, E2, and E3 are three employees are there employing the system, and E1 has got a child, E2 has got a spouse and child, E3 is a bachelor. Okay.
Okay.
There's no dependence for E3. So if you write a custom
Okay.
report with a primary business object as a worker and a related business object as dependents for this data set, what I told you, without any filter and sub-filter conditions, the report will give you only E1 and E2, just because E3 does not have any difference. Am I right or wrong?
So that means E3 will not come into the system. You're saying like that?
E3 will not come into E3 will not be displayed.
And that is based on the sub filter criteria we had put in Seema's report, correct?
No, I don't have any filter or any sub-filter. It's empty. It's clean, right? I have selected only the primary business object and first name and last name and child first name and a related business object as dependent. That's all I did. I have not done anything else, right?
Okay. So, but
So
then
my
why
question,
E3 will not come, Bala?
why what?
Why E3 will not come then?
I assume that E3 will not come because E3 does not have any dependent. Just because of that,
No.
right? When you try to join worker and a dependent, this record will not find a match there. That's why it will not be displayed. This is my assumption. I'm just asking you, is it right or wrong?
But Bala, your
So
worker object is a
I'll stop.
primary object and dependent is a secondary. So it will display
Right.
all the records where primary records is there. Secondary will be, it's like a left join, outer join. So
Yes.
we will get all the workers.
Okay. So that is my question is. So this is either left outer join or right outer join. Is it right,
This is
Arun?
this is left join. Primary is the base and
I seriously don't remember right now the joint concept seriously. So I'll not
Layman's
take a call
language,
to
please.
whether it is
Okay.
the left
So,
outer joint or right outer joint. But
so
I'll tell you
okay.
it in a different angle now. I understand your question, Bala, and I feel so. And why I'm saying is like the reason why I want to tell you is like I'll not relate it with any database right now because Workday functionality like I mean since we don't write joins or anything kind of that, but I'll relate exactly to join. I don't know the name. Forgive me for like missing out the name, but definitely I'll tell you like what is the relation. So whenever there is a primary business object which you have chosen, all the records which are stored under that primary business object will come in the report if there is no filter, right? That is the first thing.
Okay. Okay.
Correct. So I think that is called the left outer join. That's what I
Yeah,
feel,
No,
right? So the
no. My question is, in my example, I don't have only just
yeah,
primary business object. I have a related business object too. But for
no,
one particular
that's what I'm
employee
saying.
called E3, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like again, I'll reiterate what I'm saying. So even though you can have multiple related business objects in your fields, if you can see my screen here, you can have multiple
Uh-huh.
different business objects, but the
Okay.
data will only be coming up based on the primary business object.
Acha.
Okay.
Okay.
If even if you are using a related business object which has value or no value, that record will come. Maybe the particular dependent column will remain blank, but all other
Mm-hmm.
records for the employee will come into the custom report. That's the first thing,
Okay. Uh, okay. Okay.
right?
Clear.
Yeah.
Allah, that is the main reason
Now,
why they are primary business object. Because if there that is not there, you can use any object in the column and filter. So what
Yeah.
will be
Very clear,
the
man.
actual records?
Okay. 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 I'm thinking from a normal SQL perspective. That's why I
that
got misled.
that's why he told that's why I didn't take the example of join because I know it works like a kind of join, but that's not exactly it is,
Understood,
right?
man. It's clear.
So now now when we put a filter, as he always told you that filter will be on the primary business object fields. Then when you put a filter, then it will filter out those records which are not fulfilling the criteria of the filter. That is fine,
Right.
Arun,
right?
we
Now,
actually we got disconnected with the thing when you asked us the question if we remove the primary filter
yeah.
in
So I'll come
Seema's
to my
report.
question now. I'll come to
Yeah.
my question. I'll come to my question. So right now, I have not put in any filter. That means all the employees should come in the system, right?
Right,
Is that
right.
clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now what is happening is I have added a sub filter that relationship is equal to child,
Hmm.
right? Now what will happen in the output?
So me and Anand agree that all employee reports will come because we have removed the
That's fine.
thread which is the main filter, and then it
That's
doesn't make
fine.
any sense.
That I agree. But there's one
Rest
thing.
Bala will tell.
So now looking at Seema's report, what Seema has added, like she has added the related business object and dependents and added the field called dependent, right?
Hmm.
It will print the dependent's name, correct?
Hmm.
If
Yeah.
it is there. If not, it will come blank. Correct? That's
Okay.
fine,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Now my question is, a person can have spouse, can have children, can have father, mother. I mean, any rule can apply in a company, right? Whatsoever the dependents you want to add.
Hmm.
Now, there is a subfilter called relationship is child,
Hmm.
correct? And we have
Hmm.
added the
Right.
related business object called dependent and are printing the dependent records, whether it is spouse, whether it is child. Will
Hmm.
everything be printed about the sub or I mean related business objects data that spouse, child, father, mother will everything come, or will
Yes.
only relationship equal to child will come?
If
Only
we have a
relationship
subfilter,
equal to
so
child.
child will come.
Everyone on the same page, or like anyone has a question? This may not be the right answer. Right now, I'm telling you.
I didn't get what they said. Can they please
No,
repeat?
this is the right answer, man. This is the right answer.
I think wherever the relationship is not child, those employees will be coming, but then this thing will be blank for them.
No, 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 no.
As I understand, the sub filter will not work without filter. I think so. It will display all the records.
No, 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 no.
I give my vote to that as well.
I don't want to confuse you guys, but I want to make this filter and sub filter logic clear, and that's why like I'm putting all these scenarios
So
because
my
that will help
wha-
you to.
yeah, my answer is it will show only the records which has got a dependent and the dependent happen to be a child.
Child. Okay.
Okay, I think
No, but
if
then
supposing,
what then there it doesn't make any logic why they have created filter and
Sub
subfilter if
filter.
subfilter is doing the work of filter. So that's
Yes.
what I think.
That's my confusion,
Okay.
Vivek, right?
so I think if there are three employees, B1, B2, B3, B1 has a child, B2 has a spouse, and B3 doesn't have any dependents, then only all the three records will come, but only
Yes.
B1 will have the child name, but B2, B3 will be blank. They will get displayed on the report, but the child section will be blank for them because
Okay.
Right, Sima. Right, Sima.
So
Okay.
everyone
What
agreeing
is?
to it?
No, no,
This is
I'm
the
not
output.
agreeing. I'm not agreeing with that.
let's
That's
run
what
the
you
report,
told Bala, right?
otherwise.
Arun,
My
you're
answer,
you're
my answer for this data set what Seema has told us, I'll get only B1 with the child name. B2, B3 will not be displayed. That is my
I
stand.
have I have run the report,
Hmm.
and now even though the relationship of child is not there, it is showing.
What is the answer? Tell me the answer first, please.
Okay, so now I'll explain this. Forget about this report right now. Okay, I'll take up and I'll explain it using some live example, right? So now taking on the like Seema's example that there are three employees E1, E2, and E3, right? E1 has a relationship called spouse only. Like for E1 it's the spouse data. For E2 is the child and spouse data. Okay, and for three E3 no dependent. Fine,
yes.
right?
Hmm.
And now the report how filter and subfilter will work. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. So first is E1, E2, and E3 will be displayed if there are no employees in the system,
So yeah.
right? Correct.
Guys,
Uh,
can you please go on mute?
can somebody mute? Yeah, thanks. So now, since I haven't put in any filter, all the three employees will be the part of custom report. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Right? The reason being, filter only the filter will work on the primary business object. I'll tell you, and the filters are the only criteria which will remove the records from the custom report. Right? Is that for filter? Is that making sense? Forget about the sub filter right now. Just only worry about the filter. If there is no criteria in the filter, all the records which are being under that business object will come into the system. Is that making sense?
Hmm. Yes.
Correct.
Yes,
So here
Arun.
you are saying
Now,
that we are just running a simple report wherein we have just created what all is required and no filters have been incorporated in that,
no filter,
right?
no filter,
Yeah, yeah. So this
right?
is a
No
simple
filter.
report.
Correct.
Now
So,
we'll go ahead from here.
right.
Yeah.
Now we'll move on. Now, suppose we have put in the filter that dependence is not blank, right? This is the filter. Okay.
Hmm.
So now
Hmm.
what will happen is only E1 and E2 will come. Correct?
Hmm.
Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now coming on to the scenario which I asked in the custom report. That is, we have no filter, but there is a sub filter that relationship is child. That is the sub filter. Okay. Now what will happen is we will get E1, E2, E3. Reason being there is no filter. Correct?
Yeah.
And, and as we have told that there's a sub filter which is on the dependent business object that only print the dependent business object data for which the relationship is child. Okay. So for
Yeah.
E1, dependent field will be blank.
Blank. Yeah.
Okay. For E3, it's the same thing. The dependent field will be blank. Correct. And for E2, only the child name will be displayed.
Child name will be displayed.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you said that it will only work for the primary object thing, right? But dependent was on the secondary part, right?
Correct.
Then still it's working as a in this filtration thing, right?
No. It's not working. It's not working. If you see, we are getting the records E1, E2, and E3. It is not filtering out the rows. So only filter criteria will erase out the rows from the custom,
Okay,
right?
it's
So
just
if you
giving
see,
the additional information in terms of child name, right?
exactly. What we have done is we have not filtered out the rows. What we have filtered out is we have filtered out the dependent data. Correct? Is that making sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that making sense, right? So what subfilter
Yeah.
does is now theoretically, what filter does is, I mean, that is a kind of typical interview questions whenever you go for a like interview for say interview on custom report. The thing
Arun,
is
your
that the first question they will ask is what is a filter and how does it work. So your answer would be like, sorry,
your voice is breaking.
okay, give me a second.
Hello?
Yeah, is it audible now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, when in an interview question, if somebody is asking you that what is a filter, so you can tell that filtering criteria only works on the primary business object, and and it will filter out the rows which are not eligible for the filtering criteria. Is that understood in terms of theory for filter? Right.
Yeah.
Second, sub filter will only work if you have added a dependent field, I mean related business object field, right? It will filter out the related business object data, not the main business object data, but the related business object data. So what this sub filter has done is it has removed the spouse record from the system. If you have a child, it will come into the system. If you don't have a child, that row will be blank, right?
Yeah. Arun. Understand.
So that is what is happening here. Any question?
Arun, I have a question. So, how do we suppress these blank rows then?
Go for the filter. So uh,
Because I
now
think
take an
that's why
example.
I had used that, probably I had selected that calculated field because it suppressed the rows. But
Correct, correct. I mean, I'll take up the calculated fields, but I'll just explain you what has happened in your case when you have used that field. Calculated delivered. So this is a line I think which will make you guys a bit confused, but just try to understand what I'm saying. Calculate. There is a calculated field which you can create in the system, which is called lookup related value. We will go through each calculated field, but I'm just giving you an example. That there is a calculated field which is called lookup related value. What it does is that it extracts the data from dependent and brings it on the worker level. So what does that mean? That means that right now to extract the dependent data, you have changed the business object to dependents, right? But if you use that calculated field, which is lookup related value, you can use the business object as worker only and put in the field here.
Okay.
How it will work, we will see. Don't worry about it. But what it
Is it
does
the part of
is,
advanced custom report, or that is altogether
yeah,
different
this is a part of
stuff?
advanced custom report.
Okay.
So
Arun,
what it does,
so Arun, let me,
let's say,
so Arun,
yeah,
Arun, let me ask this question. Suppose if you
yeah,
use
yeah,
that
Bala.
kind of a feature, if you use that kind of feature called lookup or something like that, then you can have
Yeah,
all the filter condition in the filter tab itself. You don't need to go to the sub
exactly,
filter tab level. Am I right?
exactly. Right.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
So we will see how, but this is just to the question which Seema asked, that how to filter out the rows which are blank. That is how you're gonna do it. So till now, is that making sense about like filter and sub filter? Is there any confusion now with the filter and sub filter part?
No, man, very clear. I know Seema
No.
won the thing, but I
Award.
understood now.
Yeah, yeah, Vivek.
Just fluke, Bala,
Hello.
just fluke.
Come on. It's a logical fluke.
Guys, can you
Arun,
hear me?
can you?
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Vivek.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Arun, just a quick question. Uh, in the
Yeah.
CMA's report, you told us that she has not selected one of the Workday's stream which was created by Workday. So, what impact does it make that like she has selected something which was created by some of the persons who are practicing? If we are not selecting the Workday driven thing, what impact it can make to the report?
No. That will not an impact. Why I told was like, because that was something which you're gonna learn once you know the calculated fields. That's why I asked her, like, because that
There is
if
a there is an impact
right, that
also,
is
right?
like
That's what
something.
Arun, that's what you said, right? That there's an impact also because
Yeah,
that calculated field
impact will come.
may exist in this tenant. Yeah, the calculated field may exist in this tenant, but if you go to different tenant, the calculated field may not even exist there, right?
Exactly. So that's why like
Okay.
I removed that field, because once you know how to create the calculated field, then only you can use it in your reports, right? Because that
Okay.
may or may not be available in that at that particular
Hmm.
instant of time, and that's why I removed it, because I didn't want to because that calculated field which Seema had used had filtered out all the records which were not having child, right? And that would have
Actually,
actually
Vivek, to
like
answer your
you
question,
would
right,
not have.
Vivek?
Yeah, go ahead,
Sorry,
Bala.
Vivek, to answer the question, the calculated field is nothing like a custom field,
Hmm.
Right,
that
right.
you are
I
created
got.
for your own purpose.
Right. I
So
got that
calculated
point.
fields will always work on the workday delivered fields. Like the calculated fields will always work on the workday delivered fields. So you're not making anything different. What you're doing is you are using those workday delivered fields and applying some logic so that it can directly work in your custom report,
Hmm. Got it.
right?
Um,
So
Arun,
yeah,
can you put the report in
yeah, Seema,
edit
please.
mode?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you come down now in that table, there is a column for options.
Okay.
Okay, and there is if you go to valid options here, so there is this do not show if empty and related tasks only. So basically for the rows that were coming up blank, I thought if I select this option, then it will suppress that particular value, but it didn't actually do that. So what
It will only
exactly
suppress
does?
the what happens is, let's just try it out.
is a lot of noise today, or is it only for me?
No, there is actually some background noise. Yeah.
Yeah, I muted, man. It is not from me. At least.
No, no, no. I think you'll not be getting any voice now. So there's
I
few
guess
guests who
Arun,
have come
it's
in my.
coming from your end.
Yeah,
I guess
that's
it's
what. That's
today
why I
it's
just
from
closed.
you.
I just closed everything.
And the issue in when
Okay.
everyone goes on mute, we are confused that if we are connected or not. That's what happening in the whole session today.
So actually, there are
Arun,
few
don't go
guests
to
in my
mute,
house
Arun,
today.
please.
I'm not on mute, Bala. Hello. Am I
Hello.
audible?
Yeah, Arun, you go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
We are we all are muting and you just go ahead.
Yeah. So now, with that particular question which you asked, Seema, what happens is that theoretically will not apply. Reason being, this particular do not show if empty fields work only for a criteria when you have like all other rows populated, and this particular scenario, this will come in your output XML. Okay, this will not be a part of custom report when you are just running it. This will come in your XML output when you will have your custom report XML, and when it will be imported to your like EIBs or kind of any other integrations. That's when this particular column will not be shown if it is empty, right? Not in terms of getting the output in a custom report when you are running it directly from here. Okay,
Okay, okay. And Arun, one more thing.
that will see. Yeah,
If you
yeah.
scroll down, there is this group column heading. So if we
Yeah,
are putting a secondary business object, then it prompts us to at least set something over here in this group column heading. Is that a
correct.
mandatory thing, or I mean, what's the reason?
Okay, so whenever you create a custom report and enable is at a web service, what happens is, I'll tell you. So how the XML record is created in the system. It's like, if you remember, we saw the text path, right? On that day, that report entry will come, and then inside that all the records will come, right? That employee ID, everything, correct? If you remember the first class we did for custom report,
Yeah, yeah.
when
Yeah.
we were talking about that.
But Arun,
So what
we
will
will be
happen?
discussing in detail, right? Further the
Yeah,
same
we'll
thing.
be discussing. I'm just telling you for the particular question which has been asked. What
Okay,
happens is,
okay.
what this group column heading override does is that while creating the XML, once this XML will be generated, once you'll be seeing the XML output, what will happen is, first, so now what happens? The related business object can have multiple data, right? A person can have three dependents, or can have 8 dependents, or can have 0 dependents, right? So that means what you can see is there is a further table in a bigger table. Getting it? There is a further records of like three, four fields inside a particular employee. Getting it?
Hmm.
So what will happen is the heading which you have done, like something you would have written, right? Dependents underscore s CMD and something like it. This is the name you have written, correct? So what will happen is, first it will create a tag for the name which you have given in the group column override headings, and then inside that it will tell, okay, first name, for first dependent it will open inside that like dep 1, maybe say, let's an example, then it will close that dep 1 data, and then another record will be created called dep 2. Inside that you will have first name, right? That will be closed, and dep 2 will be closed, and similarly your main the heading which you had given like that will be closed. So it is like a
Okay,
subtree inside the main. Getting it?
okay, and got it, man, got it. So
Okay.
this is applicable
To
only when you
understand
switch. This is applicable only when you switch on the report as a service.
web service enable.
Okay, suppose if you are not enabling that checkbox report as a service, then the entry is not mandatory here.
Yeah, then they will not bother you much about that, right? What will happen is this is the heading what you have given. That will be your XML heading in your XML output.
Actually, Arun, when I tried to save it without putting any value over here, it threw an error message because I have selected this as a web
Exactly.
service. So, but if we are not selecting this as a web service, then system is not going to throw any error message. So this we can leave it blank then. Is that correct or?
Yeah, correct, Sima.
So there are two things that I'll
Yes,
explain.
Shiva.
So if you see, whenever you create it, whenever no, there's one thing which I would like to add in here. If you see, there are two columns. One is column heading override, and one is column heading override XML alias. Right? What happens is that when you create a report as web service enabled, this column is added. Okay, and when you create a custom report without web service enabled, this column is not added. Okay. Now, this is the heading which you give here will be a part of your XML headings once you generate your report as an XML output. Okay, but what happens like when you run this report? Why you need this group column heading? Once you run this report, you will see the difference. So if you see, this was the name which was given by Seema, right? That dependent group column heading underscore SC. Correct? That is why it is asking for this particular name, that what sort of name it should put in here. So that you can identify, okay, these are my main fields and these are my sub fields. You getting it?
Okay.
My question is again same question. You answered it, but I just want to confirm it, right? Suppose if you are not opting for report as a service, my group column heading
This is the
is
task.
not group column heading is not required. It is not a mandatory column. Am I right?
This is a task, Bala.
What? This a task means what? When you want
This is
us
a
to
task.
try?
Yeah. So there are few things I tell you. Like there are few things which I'll tell you. I mean, exactly which I'll tell you is that sometimes what happens is these are few small niches which even I don't remember on a day-on-day basis, right? So the best part which I even do every time is like I go and try and feel the difference. Okay, this is what is happening. This is the reason. This is not right. In the meanwhile, I would like you all guys to try and see what is happening, and then see the difference. Then see the difference that whether if there is there making any difference in terms of like having your output in terms of like is it coming as mandatory and why it is coming as mandatory or why it is not coming as mandatory.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And Arun, one more
Right?
question. In this report, in the dependent, on the dependent side, we cannot filter any value, right?
No.
Okay. Only the primary side we can filter any values.
Meanwhile, Siba,
Exactly.
can you ask the question again?
Okay. So if you see that report, Arun, can you scroll down? So no, the report. Can you run the report?
Okay, okay. Run the report. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that those initial columns which are from the primary business object, first name, last name, and all, you can put a filter on that. And you can filter it by any value that you want. But on the dependent side, which is the secondary business object, you can't filter anything over there.
Correct.
Is a related business object, right? What is the correct term? Is a related business object or a secondary business object?
Related.
Both are
Related.
same, Bala.
Related, right? Okay. No, no. I mean, why
But
we
in
know?
terms of like
We
no, you
better
should be
we.
knowing it. You should always tell related business object, Bala. You should always tell related business object because that is what even your interviewer would like to hear from you,
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. We should talk the same
right?
same jargon, right?
Exactly.
Arun, Arun, while when we are on the main screen and we have done everything, there is a button which says a tab says run for running the report. Besides that, there is a column or tab which says test. What exactly does it mean? I mean, about the testing thing. So is it just
So just a question.
yeah?
I'll show it. I'll show it. Just a question. Did you try it?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, let's just do the test. So you see what happens is like for a test, typically
There's not allowing
it
any
will show you 10.
filtration or anything.
Okay, the
No.
record
It
will
will
be
do, but it will
limited.
show only 10 records. Yeah, it will
Okay.
only show the 10 records which are applying to your
Can
filter
you
or your
show
subfilter.
no, it is coming a bit different. It if we run report in a normal way, it is likely to be in an editable mode kind of thing. But now it's just no actionables in it at the moment. When we run
No,
it,
if you run the report complete. Okay, the reason being that it is only filtering out the 10 records, right? So you'll not have like liberty to do all your filtering criteria or any kind of
right,
sorting on the column because that is
right,
already
right.
being filtered out,
Okay, okay, I
right?
got the
So
difference.
what happens is like why this test button is there? I'll tell you the difference. So sometimes what happens is like suppose you have an organization which has 35,000 or maybe like 1 lakh employees, right? When you run this report, it will take around 1 minute to run this and process the records. Correct? If it is like extracting multiple records. So what is this? Given this is a feature for implementers or like whoever is creating that report, just test it and see whether the data is coming properly or not.
Okay. But in this case,
Getting it?
we cannot test filter, I think, Arun. If we are getting only 10
No,
records, so testing of filter will not work, no,
no.
then.
Why? So let's say I'm just putting in that CMAS condition of that has a relationship. Let's say I use it.
A lot of noise.
Hello.
So let's say it has dependence is not planned. If I'm just putting in this criteria, and when I'm testing it, so now you see even your so now you see your has dependent column is only showing which are the value as yes, right?
Right.
So it will work. The filter will also work. What will happen is suppose after filtering you are getting 1,000 records, it will only show the 10 records.
So it's always good for the for someone like us who are trying our hands on it to run the report and see what all are coming in so that we can analyze and then get the main report. So it's a good option, I believe.
Exactly. It's not just good for like somebody who's trying, it's good for somebody who's building the report as well for a customer because they can just work out on 10 records and just do the processing.
Arun, and
Right?
one more thing was I have taken two columns over there, dependence worker SC and dependence SC. So both of them are displaying the dependent name, but the dependent worker SC is from the worker business object, and the dependence SC is from the dependence, the related business object. So what I
Correct.
found was if I look at the dependents worker SC and let's say the first record Alan has got two dependents, then it will show both the dependents in that one row for workers. But for dependents, it
Okay.
will come in two rows, one below the other.
So what should I do?
I think
And
if
then
you
if I
remove,
remove the
actually,
filter, right?
I've got one more report where we can see all the dependents.
Yeah.
Probably.
Tell me the
It's all worker dependence report SC.
Think you might have think you might have
lot of
used the
noise.
calculated field thing.
Yeah, all worker dependence.
So this is the one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you just run the report,
So
This conference will now be recorded.
and this is from the
correct.
primary business object I've taken because I wanted to see the difference since the dependence was both in worker as well as in the dependence business object.
Okay.
So
So now why it is coming, right?
yeah,
Why it is coming like this? That's what you want to know. Okay. So now what happens is whenever you add a field of a particular primary business object, that will be only treated as one row. Okay. So here what is happening, since this is on the worker business object, correct? So what is happening is it cannot create two rows even if it has two records, right? Because that is on a primary business object, and primary business object can only add the rows in your custom report. Okay. So that is why it is showing both the records in a single field, right? But when you are
Can you please
when you are
repeat that?
okay, what I'm saying is that the number of rows, like if you see here 236 items are showing, this 236 number will be dependent on the primary object which you are using, right? So the number of primary business object, that is the number of workers in the system which are fulfilling your report criteria, will be coming under this. So only those number of rows will be created in the custom report, right? What is happening is here that Seema has used the dependent object from the worker business object only. That's why it cannot create two rows because it is a part of worker, and that can only come in a single row. Okay. But what happens is when you go to the related business object and use that field, then what it does is it gives you the liberty that your records will be displayed as two rows, but not on the output part. It's just for the tabular representation. It is showing in two rows, but when you'll be seeing in the future, when you'll be seeing the XML outputs and everything, what it will come is like it will only come under that tag which I have explained like this, somewhat like this, that employee ID, then there will be a separate tags created for your related business objects. But for like for that particular object which is on a worker, what will happen? It will come something like this, say dependent worker underscore st. It will come something like this. That inside this only you will have both the records. That is suppose field one. I mean your field one, your field two, and your closing tab for dependent.
Seema, can you ask your question one more time?
okay. Arun, you want to explain the question again?
Yeah, I'll tell that. I'll explain. So the question was like you can see our screen, Bala, right? So now the question is that you can see that, but this particular business object, this particular field is on the worker business object, right? Because it is coming as the main primary field in the custom report. But the same field when it is used under the related business object, what is happening is these two records, that is Nathalie and Viviane, is coming in a single row, right? But in the dependent business object, it is coming as two rows. Why it is so?
Actually, Bala, when I was creating the report, I saw the dependent, which basically has the dependent names for in the worker business object and also in the dependent business object. So I just wanted to see if I pick up both of them in one report, then how is the report layout going to be?
So what you're trying to do is, in the first report, you made worker as a primary business object and a dependent as the related business object. If you have that kind of combination, you have two rows. Am I right?
Yes, I mean in that one report, if you see, there is for worker, I have dependents worker underscore C, which is basically gives the dependent name. And again, if I'm picking up the dependent business object and the same dependent field, which displays the same dependent name again. but the way it's displayed on the report is a bit different for primary and for related.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Got it, man. Okay.
And why it is showing so, it's because that whenever you are using a field which is on the primary business object, that should come under a single row. That is, in one row only all the records will come in a single row. That's why you see like Vivian and what the second name was, who's coming in a single row itself. But when you are adding a related business object, what it does is that it will not create a new row, but you can say the sub rows will be created inside that row, and the related business object data will be displayed separate. And that is why this group column heading thing comes into the picture, so that you can see that when you are adding a related business object, that
Hello.
Got it. Got it, man. Got it. I think we are missing Arun again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that disturbance was coming from his end.
Yes, yes, it's coming from his end only because we all were on mute. Still, it is coming.
Yeah.
He has to put a filter there, man.
Hello. Are we all disconnected now?
No, I'm here.
No, no, we are still there. Did anybody work on that implementation steps that Arun had given?
No, 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 no. Yeah, let me finish the report first.
So it's basically, I believe, is a weekend task, but there's a lot of pending.
no there
You have to
is
balance both work life balance is there. So at weekends, the family want that work should not come up between. So they have a lot of stuff for me.
Yeah,
So luckily I'm
that's true,
not
man.
married now. So my mother have a lot of stuff for me. I don't know how come he
I'm telling
every
you,
weekend he gets.
mother. I'm telling you, mother is a very kind person, man. Get married, then you know. Right? My
No, no.
weekend my weekend times are all decided by my wife and my son. That's it. I just
So
I'll be a I'll be a Sharadi man, right? Like
no,
how Krishna was
no.
Sharadi to Arjun.
Bala, I have a lot of friends. I've seen how they are living their lives now. So I am really staying away from it from
No, no, no. I'm just
nearly
saying, man.
next
Don't
couple of years.
hey, don't tell that my friend Bala told not to get married and all. Okay, get married, man. I'm not telling you that.
Seema, did that answer your question?
Yes, Arun. Yes.
Yeah, but
After
Vivek,
you
there's
left, the
nothing
question has
called.
changed. After you left, the question has changed, man.
Yeah, I understood. So there is nothing. So first of all, I'd like to tell you that there's no weekend activity or weekday activity. That is only for your reference, that you practice and just shoot out the questions you have, so
No,
that
no, man. That
you know,
that we need to do it. Yeah, that we need to
right?
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that
that
we need
will
to do
only
it.
give you the exact picture of like how Workday system works, and that will.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now, if you can see, like once you worked on this report, you got to have seen similar like some scenarios, some understanding of filters and sub filters automatically by yourself, right? That how
Arun,
filter works, how sub
uh,
works. Yeah.
just a quick thing. Is it a way, can you share any of your work email ID wherein if we get any sort of queries or something, we can connect with you? Because I believe if we go through Asha, it's going to be a long channel. Is it
No,
possible?
no, no. It immediately comes to me, Vivek. Don't worry about it.
Okay, right. So we can send it over to support team, right? From
Yeah,
which
yeah.
they send us
Immediately
the
it will come
company.
out. Yeah, immediately it will come out to me.
Okay,
Right?
right.
But still, you can share
So
your email if you want.
so what I'll do is, like, once your batch is completed, once you are like done with that, I'll share my email ID so that I'll refer all your guys to the Workday domain. That I'll do.
And your home address.
But anyways, like, I'll be coming to US, right? Yeah, so I'll definitely do that. I'll share my contact details and everything once this training is done, because that's a part of our confidentiality thing we do as a part of like the training part. So once everything is done, I'll definitely get in touch with you guys so as to pull you in our Workday environment. That's what I'll do for sure. No worry.
Okay, man. That's all.
Right,
That's
right.
needed, man. That's needed, man.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely give you all the references, all my contacts, where you all can apply and move into the Workday domain.
So, I
Hello.
mean, yeah, but
You
your
can
contacts
Arun, you
will be
can
on.
take me to my to you can take me in under you in your team, so that that will be the biggest help. It is not possible for experienced people like Seema and Bala. I don't know about the Anand, but
Guys,
if it's
guys,
possible,
if everything work out, you guys should come to US, man.
Anand, sure.
Bala, I
Right?
will share my email ID. Yeah. Please arrange visa. I am ready to come to US.
Yes, Bala, please do that.
Yeah, I told Seema the other day, right? I have my own company. I can do visas. That's not a problem. But nowadays, visas getting approval is a big deal,
Yeah.
right? So,
Bala, if you are aware about SQL, uh, see in terms of this report, the if you go to a technical query writing, so it's like select the name of the column and from worker, and
mhm.
the joined is left join
Yes,
dependent table on
yes,
say two column IDs, and where dependent name is child, and after that you are applying where condition, that is actual filter. So
yes, exactly, man.
sub filter is external join, external
This is
where
alien
condition and
language.
internal join.
This is the alien
Exactly.
language.
This is a
No,
technical
no, it's not
language.
alien language. Yes. It's exactly, man. Exactly that left or I mean, where you put actually, right? I mean, if you put the worker on the first table, then you put a left outer join. Otherwise, if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
put in the right, it will say right outer join. Doesn't matter which
So
position it is,
it will
right?
no, if you put a right outer join, if you start from dependent, then you have to put a right outer join. You
Yes, that's what I'm
using
saying.
worker.
The position,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
position.
Position is very important.
Yeah, right.
But trust me, guys, you don't
We are
need to have the knowledge of SQL. Trust me.
no. This is just for
So
understanding, man.
yeah,
Understanding
exactly.
how you guys talk in Telugu and Hindi, right? We talk in SQL language.
Arun,
Yeah.
Arun, actually, I have good exposure on SQL. I completed 3 to 4 years writing query,
No,
writing
I
stored
totally
procedure
agree. Even
triggers and all that.
I
Who is this? This is Vivek. Who is this?
Anand,
get other guys a bit
Anand. Anand.
confused.
Right, right.
So that is
Hey, I told Seema,
right.
I'm totally a technical.
So
Arun, I told Seema, Arun, that I'm a totally a
yeah, yeah, Bala.
technical person. That's why technical person, and I have more than 23 years of experience in US itself.
oh my God.
Totally
Oh.
technical. Right, right. So, I mean, uh, I lead a team here, but I'm just trying to move from a data side to application side. That's the reason I just
Okay,
didn't do this.
okay.
After workday
Good man.
training, you will have 4 people ready, Bala.
Definitely, yeah. Why not? Right? I don't mind. I hope you guys get a green. I mean, get a visa. That's a problem, right? Other than that, I don't mind.
But I'd love to
There is a
provide you help from offshore. I mean, I'm not that much aligned to come to US.
Offshore is
I'm
Arun, man.
happy
I'm
here.
telling you, my Arun is the only person can do it because he has got more experience in the workday, right? So he knows which company is hiring, which company is taking people. He must be knowing that, right,
Yeah,
Arun? Am I right?
that's what I'm saying. So whatever you need in terms of offshore, I can provide you the help later, right?
So Arun,
So,
you don't have any
Arun,
plan to come to US?
No,
Sorry, man. I'm
no,
taking. No. Okay.
no, not
Bala,
interested in.
Bala, I have 7 to 8 years experience in the HCM.
Yeah, buddy. Okay.
is this a job interview now?
So fine. I mean, that's okay. So okay. I mean, I'll just cut off. The
Okay.
thing is so for few things which you have to do the research today. It's something as I told you about that like enable as web service, not enable as web service. What will happen to the group column heading overrides? Whether it will show any
Mhm.
error or it will be like Second is now I'd like you to just do a research, because I mean, see, when you have done the research, it's more easier for you to understand what I'm telling, right? So that's why
Yeah.
now I want this training things to get in a bit different manner, that you first you research as well, and then we'll continue with our sessions. Okay.
Sure.
So now do the research on sorting and grouping.
Okay.
Okay. Plane your reports, see what is sorting, what is everything. Just try to do it. It will only throw an error. Nothing else will happen. It will only throw an error, and then you can report like put down that error on somewhere, and then ask me like, this is the error which I got and how to rectify on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Hey, before you leave alone, I have one
Yeah.
simple question, man. Right?
Yeah.
How do I know how to run a report, how to see the result on a screen. How do I extract the report as an XML, man?
So for that, like so the reason is like, whenever you do this thing, like if you go to the actions of the report, go to the web service and click on view URLs. There's one thing called Workday XML. This is the output, right, which comes. Once you click on this, you'll have your username and password, which definitely I'll ask the Asha team to like to like you share it with you guys, so that you can try to, once you enter this username and password here, you will have your XML output. I'll show you
Okay, the
tomorrow. Like
password.
in the meanwhile,
Okay,
in the meanwhile,
the password is hidden. Okay,
yeah, that's
the
why that's
reason
why.
why I'm asking this. Okay, the reason why I'm asking this question is we want to see what is the impact of the group column heading if we do not have the report as a service.
Okay, so what I'll do is, like in the meanwhile, if you're not like till the time you may not get the password, I'll create one custom report on the tenant which I'll have, where I have all the access in the system. I'll open that and I'll show you the difference between that.
Okay, okay, right
Right?
away,
That I
right away. You're, you're going right away. You're going to show, or you're going to show tomorrow?
I'll show tomorrow, because I'll create the reports based on that, right? Then only I can
Okay,
show
man.
you in the
Okay,
system.
okay,
Right?
no
But I'll
problem.
show you tomorrow, like how do you get the XML, how do you see it, and then parallelly, like when you have